Hello and welcome to RwandaTV News. This is what we have top of our edition. The plenary sitting of the Chamber of Deputies in Rwanda's parliament has adopted the relevance of the draft law regulating the use of human organs, tissues and cells. The draft law enables Rwandans who are willing to do so to legally become organ donors, a procedure that will be carried out while the donor is alive or post-mortem by medical specialists. The first organ transplants for kidney patients are to be performed in King Faisal Hospital in Kigali City at the beginning of next year. Now, such operations will allow those in need of organ transplants to get them without having to travel abroad, something that was costing about 12 million Rwanda francs to accomplish at minimum. Moving on, Rubavu district residents have called for modern market that has been under construction for the last 11 years to be completed so that it can be used as it was meant to be. The Ministry of Trade and Industry has decided to form a special task force to determine why the market is not being completed. Over the years, the local residents have continuously been given assurances that it will soon be ready for use, but all has so far been in vain. 2 years ago, the Rubavu Investment Company was constructed to complete the troublesome market, but it too seems to be struggling to complete the job. The company has apparently failed to reach a settlement with the district officials over 276 million Rwanda francs it claims it is owed. The decision for the formation of the task force is to ensure that the market is completed, and this comes after the Minister of Trade and Industry personally visited the district as well as the construction site and was briefed on the matter. Originally began in 2011, the modern market will be worth slightly more than 4.7 billion Rwanda francs. Now moving on, the Minister of Youth and Culture, Rosemary Mbabazi, engaged in a conversation detailing various themes and highlights of the Youth Connect Africa Summit with RBA's Precious Kirezi. That conversation started with her asking the extent to which expectations of the summit were met and how the youth that it was intended to received it.
It was a moment for young people to share experiences, to have more knowledge. They went back with extra knowledge, extra network, extra friends. You know, it means a lot to them because we are building a generation of young Africans who will know each other and know the problems of Africa and share from wherever they are and learn from each other, but also creating a network of young Youth Connect fellows, young leaders, who can grab the opportunities that we find, and wherever we see problems for them, they should see opportunities to do something about it, not complaining but finding solution for it. So we are creating a network of like-minded young Africans who are going to be change makers, who are already change makers in their communities and driving the change and building the Africa we want.
Topics like sexual health, mental health have not been things that we've addressed in African culture, not just Rwanda in the past. But this time, with this Youth Connect Summit, we actually had a panel that was exclusively discussing that. That is a very monumental moment. So how is this transparency? How is this openness? How do you intend for that to shape the youth in future generations?
By having this discussion, it was intentional. It was not by coincidence that we had this discussion about sexual reproductive health and also mental health or mental wellness. It was intentional, and if you saw, it was that panel, it was the second day, and Her Excellency, the First Lady, was also there of the Republic of Rwanda. It shows the support, even the work we do as a ministry and other ministries, but together with Imbuto Foundation. It is to empower our young people. Most importantly, is to talk about it, demystify it, and create spaces where young people can discuss about it. Not to be caught unaware, not to regret in future when you had an opportunity to know. And if we don't inform our young people, they will be informed by others that might misinform them. So we want to create a platform, even we've been doing it before, but this was a bigger platform where we can discuss it And from there, we want young people to continue discussing about the sexually reproductive health, the issues they find, the backlogs, or even the challenges they meet along the way. And we understand the way they want to understand. And also we help them, or we counsel them, or we advise them when we know their point of view. Mental health or mental issues are universal. They can happen to anybody, not on this or the other. It can happen, and it depends on the circumstances that people are in. And maybe sometimes it's peer pressure, you join into something that you didn't intend to have. But even to discuss what are the root causes and how can you safeguard that? How do you choose friends wisely? And by creating discussion point or spaces where they can discuss, it helps young people to be better informed and make informed choices, rather than landing into issues and then tomorrow they regret, or they say, I wish I knew, I never knew, nobody told me. We want to create space where they say, at least you had information.
So as the summit came to a close, what resolutions and what goals did you set for the future? And what can we expect from the next annual youth summit?
High commitments, because when we invite these young people, they come along with leaders, especially the ministers in charge of the youth affairs. And we had renewed commitments from government and all partners, where everyone was looking at what am I not doing right in my spheres of influence or the areas of operation. What else am I not doing right? Because we have listened to the young people and we identified areas that we can improve and do better. And so we are going to be, it's going to be influencing policies. It's going to be influencing partners. It is also going to be influencing the programs that we implement. But also it's creating an ecosystem, people with the same vision, the same way of doing things and driving to a common goal. So we have created a network of ministers in charge of youth in the 30 countries where Youth Connect is implementing. But it is growing because we had more 4 countries expressing interest to join. So very soon we'll be around 34 countries out of 55 in Africa. The second one is the CFTA, the Continental Free Trade Area, which is a large market, huge consolidated market, is an opportunity for young people, especially those in entrepreneurship. The young business people, like right now we have young people from Rwanda trading with the other young people in Ghana because we were there last time. And the same with those from Gabon, those from Sierra Leone, those from Namibia or Zimbabwe. They already created a network where they're going to be identifying what are the bottlenecks that hinder them from trading across the border. And those issues will be taken to the line ministries, especially ministries of trade and industry. So there is more commitment to work together, to trade together, to do business together as we drive to where we want to be as a nation and as a continent. So the CFTA is an opportunity, but also they identified other opportunities that they didn't think about, especially in environmental conservation. Some of those who have done it were an inspiration to others. Also, it created a platform where the young people were sharing experiences, especially those classes that I was talking about, the master classes. They also came up with a call for action. They came up with a manifesto for the youth of Africa, and it was a call for action on climate change. And they created a voice for the young people of the continent that will be forwarded to COP27 in November in Egypt when it happens. So this is what they're calling for. They have about 7 points they have outlined, what they wish to see in the future, because they are the future of this continent. So this call for action, it involves them, what their role will be, but also other stakeholders' role. So there is a lot anticipated, and we're going to be looking forward to see what they're doing when they go back. There was also a call for universal access to education, especially skills. It is okay in Rwanda, we have free education and free access to education, education for all, not in all African countries. So the young people are expressing that although we are here, there are other young people who don't have access to education. And this should be a call for the ministers when they go back to influence the policies for all young people to have access to skills that are needed for the future jobs. You must have followed the Youth Connect.
I did.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya requested to host it. The way forward is to follow up with them to launch Youth Connect because they haven't launched yet. We also follow up with the implementation of Youth Connect program in their own country, and also start working together on the summit because it is rotational. It goes to one country out of Rwanda, the next year it comes back to Rwanda. So we are not hosting 2023, we will be hosting 2024. And 2025 it will be somewhere else country. And before the Deputy President expressed interest, we had already 4 countries that had expressed interest to host it. But of course,
that's remarkable.
Yes. So if the the Deputy President was here, as ministers we obey and we listen, and we will do as our heads of state requested that Kenya will be hosting, and all the roads lead to Kenya 2023.
Thank you so much, Precious Kirezi, for that interview, and special thanks to the Minister of Youth and Culture, Rosemary Mbabazi, for the glimpse into the future and what the Youth Connect Africa Summit holds. Now, in more news, experts in the healthcare sector urge people to maintain the hygiene methods that have been put in place to prevent further diseases that may be caused by poor hygiene, even though the COVID-19 pandemic has now subsided. Olevuntede filed this report.
At commercial buildings, some of the residents practice good hygiene methods, such as washing hands, before entering in the buildings. However, some residents say that as days goes by, people are neglecting the habit of washing hands. People do not usually give much importance washing hands. Some of them even think they are clean and eat without washing their hands first. But still, they are dirty. When a person does not wash hands, they are very dirty.
Niba navuga ko twiraye dusa nk'abantu biraye tuzi ko icyorezo cyacitse.
We are being complacent. It seems like the pandemic is no longer there. We used to do it because of COVID, but since it has subsided, we are neglecting good hygiene. Sometimes washing hands is not important due to an activity that is to be carried out. For example, when eating a sugar cane.
On the other hand, some residents say that they prioritize good hygiene and practice it with their families to protect their health. I try my very best to teach my children the habit of washing hands. When they are going to eat, they first wash their hands. Before every activity, they wash their hands as well. It protects them from various diseases. It is very important to train our children good hygiene. Flandry Habyarimana, a pharmacologist, points out that while washing hands with soap, it is important to make sure that all dirt is removed.
It is important to use clean water to avoid diseases that may also be caused by dirty water, and also use soap. The soap is made of the detergent. Sometimes while washing your hands, the soap may not bring foam, and it is usually caused by the dirt in your hands, and sometimes it is important to continue washing until the soap removes all the dirt from the hands, because the detergent absorbs microbes and removes them from the body, and when the microbes are still bound to the body, the soap may not be effective. As you continue washing hands, foam is formed and is white, then that is when the hands are clean.
Properly washing hands is one of the methods to prevent diseases such as diarrhea, respiratory diseases, cholera, and various other diseases and pandemics such as COVID-19 and Ebola. Flandry Habyarimana notes that microbes and viruses are found in various places, and it can be harmful to the body if not prevented.
People have been urged to practice good hygiene, and it even became compulsory. Washing places have been set up. We all thought it was only to fight against COVID-19, but people should not be complacent and think that if the pandemic has subsided, it's no longer needed to wash hands and practice other hygiene methods. People should make practicing good hygiene a habit, because after COVID-19, there are various other diseases that can be caused by poor hygiene.
According to the World Health Organization, only 40% of healthcare workers practice hand washing, which increases the risk of hospital-acquired infections and increases the risk of death. The World Health Organization also points out that more than 525,000 children die from diarrhea. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive. Now, if successfully implemented, the African Continental Free Trade Area ought to be a catalyst for boosting intra-African trade. Rwanda's Minister of Trade and Industry spoke to RBA about what the ministry is doing to promote intra-African investments and to facilitate small and medium enterprises in leveraging the opportunities African Continental Free Trade Area presents.
First of all, because this is a continental free trade area, a nation or a ministry from any country must align their policies, their strategies to the strategy to continental level. That is what we are doing in terms to enable environment. Secondly, we are working with the private sector in order to prepare them on what is needed to be able to trade across Africa. The third one is regarding the small and medium enterprises, mainly in manufacturing and the agro processing side, because I think to be competitive, we must be able to create comparative advantages around our product, and of course reduce the cost of production. Is a process we are trying to see how we can finance more with an interest rate acceptable, 1 digit if it's possible, to agro processing companies to make sure that they can be competitive in the market. So the roadmap is long, but we are trying to make sure that every day we work. Is a work not only for the nation, is a work together with others, mainly the secretariat. Import substitution usually it's happen when you have productivity, meaning that when you have increased productivity. Our manufacturing companies, many from SMEs, they need investment. With the new investment code developed by RDB, but is the government document, now we have facilitated across sectors, subsectors, the way to access investment plans, the way to access the financing, but mainly the way to access inputs. Inputs are very important. As you know, Rwanda, we are landlocked. We have to import even some inputs. So we're trying to substitute the importation of input with local product in which we can make sure that we can find their factors of production. And that first of all, we have to organize the logistics side. Connecting Africa is not easy in terms of roads or freight. It's something we are working on that to make sure that we reduce non-tariff barriers so people can move and the goods can move. The second one is to see how we can eliminate the cultural setting, thinking that Africans were different. So we're not different in terms of, first of all, because we are the same continental level. The second one, because as Africa, as a free trade, is very important to have that in mind, that the first move will be to unite ourselves before we unite our goods and the products. So the challenges are many when you begin a free trade area like this. First of all, we began during COVID time. The second one, until now, we still have shocks are many. We have the war in Ukraine and Russia. The goods are expensive. The cost of production is increasing because of the cost of factors. So I think with the journey we are passing through and collaborating with others, the African Continental Free Trade must help the regional bloc to let's say to give capacity to their business community to be more efficient, mainly on production.
That's my time with you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Isabel Masozera, and on behalf of the entire news team here at RBA, thank you and good night.